This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, REL-MAR McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our family of broadcast affiliates, terrestrial, AM, FM, cable, and satellite. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com or studio@xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And if you'd like to find out what we've been up to, past, present, and future, just visit our website at www.xzoneradiotv.com. Before we get to my first guest tonight, I've got a question for you, X-Zone Nation. Would you like to be part of UFO history? You would? Do you believe in UFOs? You do? Would you like to help prove to the world that UFOs are real? You would? Then simply go to www.cubesat.tech. That's www.cubesat.tech. X-Zone Nation, my guest this hour is Melissa Cynova, and she is the owner of Little Fox Tarot and has been reading tarot cards and teaching classes since 1989. She can be found in the St. Louis area and is available for personal readings, parties, and beginner and advanced tarot classes. You can look for her first book, Kitchen Table Tarot, from Llewellyn Publishing, in January 2017. Melissa lives in St. Louis with her kiddos, her partner Joe, and 2 cats, 2 dogs, and her tortoise Phil. I wonder how a turtle feels about being called Phil.
Well, he seems to be okay with it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. You know, my daughter has a dog by the name of Howard, so I guess Phil's a good name for a tortoise. And Melissa, welcome to the X-Zone. Great having you with me. And I must tell you, I loved the title of your book. It is such a nice, friendly little book, Kitchen Table Tarot. Tell me about what it was in the life of little Melissa before she started naming tortoises, Phil. What brought you to the world of tarot and to the world of the paranormal?
I got my first tarot deck when I was 14 from a high school friend, and he said, "You need to know how to do this." His name's Steve. And I don't know why. He just gave it to me. So I started doing readings, and I used my book diligently for a decade. And it became my thing. And I'd grown up in a small town and gone to Catholic school, and we didn't read fortune-telling cards, you know.
No, that was taboo.
So it was very isolated for me for a long time.
Yeah, the Catholic Church isn't up on tarot or any part of the supernatural except what's in the Bible.
Fan.
You know, I don't understand it. The Bible is filled with supernatural stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I learned that when I was older, which helped me reconcile a lot of things that I learned when I was a kid with what I know now.
You know what I learned as a kid? Never tell the truth. because I told the truth to a minister, and I got kicked out of the Anglican Church until I was in my 20s.
Well, it sounds like quite an honor.
I thought it was bad, especially when the minister called up my mom after kicking me out of Saturday morning Bible class and telling her that I was the son of Satan.
That's quite a distinction. I just had to sit behind the piano for asking too many questions. So I wasn't quite as hardcore.
But you know what? You've got a gold star in my book for what you did.
Great.
All righty.
Excellent.
So as it goes on, what was it like the first time you read, and what you had read was, dead on? That you actually banged this reading right to the nines.
It scared me a little bit because I'd done readings through high school, for beer money, like you do.
Sure.
And I sat down with a friend and threw down some cards and said, "I'm really sorry that your grandmother died."
Ooh.
And she said, "My grandmother didn't die." And I went, "Oh, shoot. I'm so..." And then the phone rang, and it was her mother telling her that her grandmother had just died. And that kind of thing scares the bejesus out of a 19-year-old, So I put my cards down for a while because I didn't expect for what I said to have been real. And it taught me a couple of things. It taught me that tarot cards were bigger than just something I would pull out and play with. And it also taught me that discretion is super important. So I learned a lot of hard lessons early on because I tend to go on. And it was easy for me when I was younger to forget who I was speaking with, and that the things that I'm saying, the cards that I'm laying down, that's part of their life. That's part of who they are.
Melissa,
and
stand
so
by.
You have to tread very gently.
Stand by, Melissa. You and I have to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Exo Nation, Melissa Cynova is our special guest. www.littlefoxtarot.com. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience Journey Trance, Power Animals, Helping Spirits, Sacred Space, and Life Purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
Melissa Cynova is our special guest, Exo Nation, www.littlefoxtarot.com. And before we went to the break, you were telling us about one of the times you were reading some cards for somebody, and, you said something to the person on the other side that they're about their grandmother being on the other side or something to this effect, and they said, my grandmother's alive, and bingo, the phone rings, the mother says that your grandmother just died. I'm telling you, I got shivers listening to that story.
Well, it's, and I was very young, too. And I think that every tarot reader kind of goes through a period where they wonder if it's real, or am I just playing with cards, or am I just really intuitive, or do I just know my friends, right? Because those are our guinea pigs, is our family and friends. And I've had some readings that I can't explain how I know what I know. And to have that happen when I was so young was really startling. And I actually put my cards down for about a year because I was afraid of them, But I'm insatiably curious. So, of course, I picked them up again when I was feeling a little better. But I've had I had a reading one time. I'd been drinking, which I don't drink anymore, but I especially don't drink and read because it's bad news. And he kept bothering me at a party. Give me a reading, psychic. Come on, give me a reading. So I said, all right, pal, you want a reading? And I threw down cards, and I said, your girlfriend is going to find out that you're cheating on her real fast. Well, his girlfriend was standing behind him and heard me and went, what? And so that was one of my more entertaining readings. So, yeah, you got to be careful. It's a pretty serious tool.
Wow. Did the girlfriend leave him?
Well, I don't know. He looked like he was about to take a swing at me, so I grabbed my cards and took off. So,
how come you have a fox as a totem, and how did that evolve?
Oh, I have a very dear friend of mine, Mary, does spirit journeys. My family's Native American, and so is my friend Mary. And she does spirit journeys and finds your spirit totem. And she went into a journey and drummed herself into a trance. And called out and looked for my spirit animal, and it was a fox. And the details of it are kind of personal, but my favorite part was that she said he was jumping around in this vision, like a flash of tail here and a flash of orange there and a wiggly nose here. And she said, did you come from Melissa? And he said, hell yeah. So, and ever since then, I see foxes all the time. And like when I was pregnant, I almost died having my children.
Oh no.
And I was driving home from the hospital, and I was just done. I was done being pregnant. I was sick, and I knew I was dying. And I was crossing a 6-lane highway, and I saw a fox, a mother fox, with 2 babies. And I got out of the car and waddled out to the middle of the intersection, 6 lanes, with my arms spread wide. And she walked in front of me with her babies. And then she turned and looked at me like, listen, if I can do that, get your ass back in the car and go have this baby, And it was a real connection, and I felt like that's how God shows himself to me, is through my totem. And so seeing her that day with her 2 babies gave me, I think, the heart to not give up and to feel like I could. And then my daughter, she's 12. My son is 11. They're both fine. And I think it helped having my totem look out for me.
Sure.
So when I decided to my company came along accidentally almost, because I have a Canadian friend. What's up, Suzanne? And she wanted to learn tarot, and the phone bills were crazy. So I started a blog so I could teach her through the blog. Well, then more people found the blog, and then it got bigger, and then it got bigger. And next thing I knew, I had 2,000 followers on Twitter. And
wow.
I needed to name it something other than Melissa Tarot.
I guess so.
Because it doesn't really trip off the tongue. And that was 4 years ago. And now I've got a healthy business and a book coming out and a second one on deck. So
good for you.
My foxes led me really well.
Good for you. It's good to hear people who help other people getting ahead in this world. Because, gosh darn it, there is so much negativity that we all have to do something to put a positive feeling back in the world.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I was a social worker in my Muggle job, for about 20 years. So I see my readings as kind of an extension of that work. It's something I can still do to reach out and help people.
What has been the creepiest, eeriest, scariest thing that you've come up with during a reading?
I actually, and it scared me because it was the first time, but I'm one of those people who's like, yeah, ghost schmoes, I do tarot readings, but I'm like, meh. So I'm doing reading, and I've done probably 30 readings over a day, which is too many, right? It's kind of the psychic equivalent of, have you ever bent a car door backwards against the car? You can't close those, right? You have to push and push and push. So my doors are blown wide open, and I'm doing a reading for a lady, and I hear a German woman over my shoulder going, the reading was about, she said her mother passed away, and her dad wanted her to cook meals every night and do all of his laundry and do his shopping and basically become his maid. So over my left shoulder I hear, he was a son of a bitch when I was alive, and he's a son of a bitch now, and you're not his goddamn maid. And I was like, beg your pardon? And I could see in my head this very angry person with the bun on her head shaking her fist, with her thumb in there. And I heard it again, yelling, you're not his slave, and he was a jerk when I was alive. And I kind of looked at my client, and my face must have blanched, and she goes, what's wrong? I'm like, there's this really angry German person scared. Could you see her? And she was like, I beg your pardon? And I repeated what she said, and the woman burst into tears and went, Mom! Oh, Mom! So, that was a little unnerving.
To say the least.
And then about a week later, I was at another party, and I kept hearing the word Reb, R-E-B, Reb. Mm-hmm. And like someone was saying it to me. And I looked at the woman and I said, what does Reb mean, R-E-B? And she started crying. Oh, gosh. And she pulls up her arm, and she has a tattoo that says R-E-B on her arm. And then she goes, it was my grandpa. And I look in the corner, and I see this big, burly biker dude on a Harley who wasn't there a second ago. And I was like, big guy rides a Harley? He says hi. He's right there. So those two to me were my creepiest, because it's interesting to come face to face with something you don't believe in. I'll tell you that. So
there must be times when not only do you have scary, creepy, eerie experiences, but there must be many times that you have heart-wrenching experiences as well. And can you share one or two of those with us?
Yeah. I had one, this woman was Indian, and she had the most beautiful long hair. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her, and just for a second, it looked like she had a crew cut. And I stopped and stared at her, and I go, this is really stupid. I haven't even touched my card yet, but I just saw you with really short hair. And it looked like you were glowing. And I'm laughing because what a dumb thing to say. And she started crying. She was undergoing chemo.
Oh, my gosh.
And her hair was a wig. And I said, honey, I saw you glowing. You're fine. It's all gone. No more cancer. We're all clear. And we just sat together and kind of wondered. I hadn't even touched my cards yet. And we just kind of sat together and just kind of wondered at that experience, because how nice of her to let me counsel her, and what a lovely vision, So that was one that stuck in my mind.
It must be very rewarding for you, because I get the feeling that you're a very warm, empathic person, to have these people sit down and entrust you and open up to you to help them. And that is so warm in itself.
Yeah, it's really an honor, and I don't take it lightly. My clients trust me, and I've gotten terrible readings before. I usually go every so damn and I go get a reading. And I went to Chicago one time, and this lady was a rip-off artist, and tried to tell me I had dark energy surrounding me, like Pigpen and Charlie Brown, right? But if I hired her as my personal psychic advisor for $400 a month, she could remove it, but no one else could. And I lost my temper with her. And I said, people come to get readings when they're sad or scared or feeling small. How dare you? How dare you take advantage of people like that? So there are some complete a-holes out there who do this to make a buck. and I've run into a few of them. But luckily, the better readers, if anyone is thinking about getting a tarot reader, ask around. Ask a professional. If I cuss a lot. I did go to Catholic school, but I do swear a bit. And if somebody doesn't like my style of reading, that's fine. I'll refer them to 3 or 4 other people who I know will give them a good reading.
In certain language that they'll understand, that they can beep off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you've got to really do your homework, because there are some people out there who will really take care of people who are hurting, and that's a shame.
That is a shame, because I used to go in the early years of the show. We're now in our 25th year. We used to go to a lot of. Thank you. We used to go to psychic fairs. We used to go to the exhibitions, the whole bit, and I used to watch people go, like the psychics and the astrologers used to be in the middle of the room in their little tables and their whole bit. And I used to watch people go from one to the next, 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 until they heard what they wanted to hear. They left. And I'm looking at minimum $70 a reading. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That person spent $420.
Sure.
Sure. Like, what does that tell you about society, having worked in the social service realm? And by the way, another congratulations to you, because you perform such an important job in society when you're working in that field. How does that make you feel to know that in this year of 2016, people need to go to strangers just to talk to them, and they are willing to pay $70 for a half hour to talk?
I'll tell you, I think it's always been that way. I think that people just want validation, and that I do some pretty cool things, and I have some pretty amazing gifts. But at the end of the day, most of my job is telling people that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think that, social media and telephones and being able to do anything on the internet has really isolated more people than it's brought together. And it's... Sometimes you don't have another person in your life to tell you it's going to be okay, or you're making the right choice, or you were right to leave him, or it's not going to get better. You need to find someone you trust to say, honey, it's time to go.
Exactly.
And I take that very seriously. And I have good readings too. I have people who call me, and I'll throw the cards down, and I have a client I've had for 10 years, and he called, and I said, honey, why are you calling me? Everything's great. And he goes, fantastic. And he paid me for an hour's worth of reading, and it was a 2-second reading. But he wanted that validation. Was worth the hour rate, because he wanted to know that it was okay. And I'd read for him for long enough that he knew I wasn't, blowing smoke.
How do you not, how do you stop a person from getting a dependency with you in order to get your validation all the time?
Well, I personally don't allow people to get readings more than once every 3 months, because I think it's I'm not Oprah, and I'm not their mother, and my job is not to tell a person how to live their life. My job is to tell people, if you keep doing this, this is the most likely outcome, and here are some things you can do to fix it. But I'm not their mama, so I can't, in good conscience, put myself in their lives more than once every 3 or 4 months. And some of my clients I ground for a year.
Wow, let's talk more about this when we come back from this break.
Quite a bit. I'm like, you got a lot of work to do.
Wow. She grounds her clients, Exonation. Melissa grounds her clients. I love this. I love this. She doesn't allow her clients to form a dependency. I love that as well, but I also love the fact that she helps people, and she's there for people in their time of need. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Hey, if you'd like to contact Melissa for a one-on-one consultation, littlefoxtarot.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, doing this show for 25 years, I've actually thought I heard it all. Really, I did. We had the lady who came into the studio with the psychic goat. We've had, oh yeah, I'm serious. We had the guy in some place in Alberta who told us that he went to Canadian Tire, bought a battery and a couple of red lights and built a UFO deflection system. And ever since he built his deflection system, he's never seen a UFO since. We've had people, we've had people who have come on the show and told us that they have a special type of tinfoil that they make into hats so the aliens cannot read your mind. But I've never, ever had a tarot card reader who basically tells people that they can or can't have sex. This is a first.
True story. Yeah, people sometimes think with their emotions when they should be thinking with their brains. And if I have a client come to me who is thinking with passion or with loneliness or with anger.
Or with their penis.
And, or their penis. Okay. And then I tell them they're done. They're on a break, no dating, no sex for 3-6 months. Sometimes a year. I grounded someone for a year and a half, and she said, "Why do you hate me?" Right. And she'd been in and out of relationships her entire life. She had never been single.
No,
she
no
was
disrespect.
17 years old.
No
she was in her
disrespect
40s.
here. No
And I
disrespect.
said, a year and a half, you get to know yourself. You spend time with yourself.
Yeah.
You date yourself, because at this point, a man was just a distraction, so she wouldn't have to take care of herself. And for her, that was the right thing.
Wow.
And then I have other clients that I'm like, unfortunately, not a lot of women are able to have a sexual relationship without an emotional relationship, but the ones that are, I'm like, hey, you get a green pass for sex, but no falling in love, because you're not in a good place for love right now, and you'll do a disservice to your partner. So, yeah, it depends on the client, really.
Melissa, I've only had the pleasure of knowing you for just about an hour. I think you're a real cool person. I really do. I really do.
Thank you.
But my question to you is, why in the hell would anybody listen to a tarot card reader who's telling them not to have sex?
Usually it's because that's the exact opposite of what they're doing, and what they're doing isn't working. So you're not only a mama, but you're also a morality monitor. Well, not so much morality as self-care. I have clients that are, all over the sexuality spectrum who are polyamorous and who have, several partners, or who are single with several. I don't care what you do as long as everybody is consenting and is of age. Don't care. But when you choose other people above your own self-care, that becomes an issue, So as far as morality goes, I expect people to use their own moral compasses. But, my job is to look out for what's good for them. And if they're doing something that's not good for them, they're going to hear about it. So you take great pride and great responsibility in what you do. Absolutely. I love it. I feel like it's a gift, and then if I abuse it, it will go away. I love it. And rightly so. I had a tarot card reader on a number of weeks ago. And the whole thing was that she was using her experience as a former member of the clergy to use tarot to conduct counseling. And I was, to me, that's not what it's all about. How can you bring in your own personal beliefs and try to counsel somebody when the person who is contacting you for the reading isn't calling you to get a theological lesson, but they're calling because they have a problem, they have a need, they're looking for help. And the fact that this person's significant other and child were making designs of tarot cards and music, and heck, I'm all for entrepreneurship, but when you use it as a way of making money and the needs and the vulnerability of people, this is where I draw the line. Sure. And I think that this is where vetting comes in. I think that some people ask me to pray for them, and I say I don't do that. Yeah. That's not my thing. So some people are looking for a religious bent to their tarot reading. Right. Some people are. I know counselors, like actual licensed LCSW counselors, who use tarot readings in their counseling sessions as a diagnostic tool, and their clients are okay with that. But this is where vetting your tarot reader comes in, because if you want a religious reading, don't call me. And if you want an actual counseling, I don't have a PhD, and I'm not a licensed counselor, so I'm also not the right person. But there are people out there. So, and I think that if somebody is using both of those gifts together, and maybe not informing their clients the way they should be, that gets a little sketchy. Because it's all about disclosure. It's all about keeping everything out in the sunshine. And if someone were to stumble into that and get a lecture or get converted without asking for it, that's where it gets a little sketchy. But I've had people ask for all sorts of different kinds of readings, and I just say no, and I send them on their way. So it's kind of like any other company. If you want a massage and you want acupuncture, well, I don't do acupuncture, but I can give you a massage, Sure. So, but people have to be very careful, for sure. They do. They certainly do. And let me ask you, I'd love to know when you got totally comfortable throwing cards and being a total badass, and when did you actually go on autopilot? I started accidentally. I'd been doing readings for about 12 years, And I went to go do a reading for a stranger, which I just started doing, and I forgot my book and panicked because I always used my book. I had this Eden Gray book that I had been using since I was, 14. And here I was, 24, 25, and I had somebody who gave me money and was expecting a reading. And so I just did it. And it was right. And it was actually more right than any reading I've ever given before. And it just worked. And it was really fantastic.
Was it because you were using
it? I just took my book and kept it, in my bag. And that one was right, too. So I started trusting myself on accident.
So you were going more with intuition and gut feeling and your own knowingness instead of depending on a book.
Yeah. And I tell people when I teach them, I'm like, use your book as long as you need to. And when you don't need to, still have it by. I still grab books all the time. If I'm looking at a card and it's frustrating me or I'm not sure how it's supposed to work in this reading, I'll grab a book because you use the tools you have,
Yeah.
And the day I stop learning how to do tarot is the day I'm in the ground because there are so many different ways to use the cards and so many different interpretations of the cards that if you stop being a student, you just kind of stagnate. And who wants that? Yuck.
Yeah, that happens when you, like you said, wake up on the wrong side of the grass. How do you deal with skepticism?
What's that?
I said, how do you deal with skepticism?
I don't. I have a very, very good friend who is a complete pragmatist. She's Dutch, so she has to be a pragmatist. And she kind of gave me the eyebrow when I told her I did tarot readings. And then I did one and blew her socks off. And she's still skeptical, and she still doesn't know why or how it works. And I'm honest with her. I don't know either.
Yeah.
I think it has something to do with intuition. I'm pretty sure that Jung was on the right page with his archetypal resonance and the collective unconscious.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that because my family is descended from an oral tradition, that this is skillful, runs in my family. But I don't know.
I believe it has something to do with one's own psychic abilities, that the tarot cards are a tool that is used in divination, just like the crystal ball, just like the runes, just like the I Ching. So I believe that everyone is psychic. There are those who tune into the AM band. There are those who tune into the FM band. And then there are those who are gifted like you, who have the ability to use a sort of radio that we used to call multiband way back, years ago, where you could do AM, FM, and shortwave. And I think that this is what you're blessed with.
I think so. And I know that there are members of my family who are police officers, firemen, soldiers, who have used it in their lives, and it saved lives. That kind of not grabbing a doorknob and opening a door and instead pulling back in the middle of a fire. That kind of split-second decision. I have friends who use it all the time, but they don't call it that. They call it good luck.
Yeah.
Or, gosh, my angel must have been with me or whatever, but I think we all have the ability to use it. But I've been, and I'm kind of an anomaly. I have friends who've been doing readings who are my age, who've only been doing it for 10 or 15 years. I've been doing this since, almost 30 years. So I've been using this muscle for most of my life, So it's pretty strong. And, with great strength comes great responsibility, right?
Very true.
So so the more I do it and the better I get at it, the more careful I am with it.
Now, you're a mom. You have 2 children. What do your children think about their mom who can read cards and basically knows exactly what they're up to at all times?
They are so busted all the time. My little guy is 11, and he's starting to learn how to read the cards. And he is, I think, more psychic than I am, because we'll have grown-up stuff we don't share with the kids, and he'll ask me, "Why are you sad?" and "Why are you frustrated?" And I'm like, "How did he know that?" So he's starting to keep a journal, and his interpretations of the cards are just fantastic. He says the tower fell down because they didn't know what they were doing when they built it, so they get a do-over. Come on, kid! It took me 20 years to learn that. Are you serious? So he's a little rock hound and crystal hound, and we try to encourage him as much as we can. And my daughter is 12, which means that everything I do is goofy.
Yeah.
And she's a big eye roller. And I say, you want to learn tarot? That's your thing. So other people's kids think I'm cool. My kids think I'm a gigantic dork. So,
I don't know. I think you're pretty cool.
Yeah, but I'm not your mom. So
that's true.
Yeah, I could, be a flaming baton twirler and my kid would still think I was lame. I'm okay with that.
Are you a flaming baton twirler?
Yeah, well, yeah, she'd probably roll her eyes at me and say, can I go? Are you done yet? That looks like a safety hazard. Ugh.
Listen, we've got to take a break in about a minute from now. But when we come back, I'd like to talk to you about learning tarot, long distance.
Mm-hmm.
How long it takes and what a person needs to do, how long it takes, and just some other questions that may come out of the blue. I'm still getting over the fact that you ground people from having sex. Where the hell were you?
It's a good cautionary tale for future clients.
Where the hell were you when I needed you? God.
I was in St. Louis, man.
Oh, gee, story of my life. Exo Nation, Melissa Cynova is our very special guest, a lovely lady, great sense of humor. And if you want to be grounded from having sex, woohoo! www.littlefoxtarot.com. Now I know where the fox comes from. www.littlefoxtarot.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. And listen, if you'd like to be part of UFO history, one website to go to, www.cubesat.tech. I'm not going to say much more than that right now, but go to that website, www.cubesat.tech, and you can be part of the Disclosure Project and UFO history. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone with our special guest. The only person I've ever had on the show who tells me that during tarot card readings, she actually grounds people from having sex. I'll be back. Don't go away.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who would like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randle. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandle.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
All right, Exonation, just imagine this. You all know Craig. Everyone who's been listening to this show for the last 25 years knows my producer, Craig. He looks like ZZ Top. He's kind of a real cool, laid-back guy. Wears his sunglasses in a darkened studio. I guess he doesn't want his eyeballs to fall out. And, usually he's just bopping around and leaving everybody alone, but for the past half hour, he's been on the phone to every department here in the radio station, and he's also calling our TV partners and our newspaper partners looking for donations for his tarot deck, because my guest this hour, Melissa Cynova, told us on air that she used to do tarot card readings for beer money. Now, beer plus Craig equals Craig. Yeah. So anyway, but then, talking to people during the commercial breaks, we often find out little nitties about these people that we love. And, of course, we certainly do appreciate Melissa for coming on the show. She's a great guest, and we're going to have her back on. There's no two ways about that. But your first job was in the circus?
It was for the circus, yeah. There is a place called Everyday Circus in St. Louis that raises money for children. It's a great organization. And they rent out for parties. So if you're having an event, you can get a fire swallower and a stilt walker, a clown, a magician, and a fortune teller. So I would dress up with a scarf and the big hoop earrings and go do readings for dudes in suits. And it was really fun. And I learned how to do readings really quickly, and I learned how to do readings for drunk people. And I learned how to do readings for drunk people really quickly, or they'll spill their stuff on my cards.
I've got to
like combat pay.
I've got to say, there seems to be a lot of drinking whenever you're around.
Well, I am Polish, so.
Matku Basku Kryminieska Kedwojeka. My grandmother was Polish, so there we go.
Kosinke.
Yeah,
yep.
You know who Alexander Graham Bell was, right?
Oh, really? Right on.
Do you know who he was? Alexander Graham Bell?
Oh, he was the telephone.
Right, he invented the telephone. Do you know who Alexander Graham Bowalski was?
No.
He was the first telephone pole. You can use that.
That's going to go on my list of TV jokes. I'm like the queen of dad jokes. My newest favorite is, where did Napoleon keep his armies?
Up his sleeveys.
Up his sleeveys.
Yeah.
Exactly. God, you and I need to talk more for
All
sure.
right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. Let's talk. This is too much fun. Craig, can you get rid of the guest for the next hour, and we'll just have fun here for another hour? No, don't. I was only kidding. Teaching somebody tarot long distance, is it hard?
No. Nope, it's easy peasy. You can learn, actually, and this is probably like costing me book sales, but you can learn online, right? Thank God for the internet, because I had one book when I was learning, and it was dense. It was hard to read, and I read it, with an encyclopedia in the other hand, or a dictionary in the other hand, rather. And because the Hierophant, what the hell's a Hierophant, man? It's one of the cards of the major arcana, and it wasn't for 15 years or so. I read a book by Rachel Pollack that said the Hierophant is a trickster god. And I went, oh, now I have this card. But it took me a while to get through all of the history and the language, and that's kind of what my book does. It cuts to the chase and says, okay, the Hierophant card basically is the conduit between man and God. You got that, right? So I use easier language so that they can go back to those wonderful books by Eden Gray and learn the history of the card. But you got to get it first, right? So I make these silly little memes on the internet, and like one of them is the Knight of Wands, and it says, "Do you even joust, bro?" Because that's totally the identity of the Knight of Wands. He's a dude, bro, and he's probably going to drop his wand or stab somebody with it accidentally, because knights are very full of impulse. So I try to make the cards very relatable. And then after that, you can build on the history, and you can build on, the intrigue and all of the fun little mysteries about the cards. So yeah, easy peasy.
So how long does it usually take the average person to learn how to read tarot cards, doing it your way, on your blog, using your techniques?
My students are usually, we have one class that lasts about 3 or 4 hours. I touch base with them again in a couple months, and then they're good to go. I would say probably about a year to feel really comfortable. Now, I have students who I tell, go home and practice on all of your people. They are now your guinea pigs. So you can pick it up right away. But just tell them, I'm going to use my book. I'm going to use the tools I have. There are a lot of silly superstitions about tarot readings, like you're not allowed to buy your first deck. It has to be gifted to you. That's a bunch of crap. Or you have to shuffle a certain way, or you have to, I don't know, sit outside in a meadow and wait for fairies to bless you. I don't even know. There's a bunch of hooey, and I think that it was introduced to make it more mysterious back in the day.
Yeah.
And it also to slow you down and make you more deliberate about how you handle your cards. But you don't have to do any of that stuff. Buy your first deck, Craig. Go to Amazon.com and get a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There you go. You started. Read the little book that comes with it. Start each card. Get the Fool cards. Start a journal page. Write everything you notice about the card.
Right.
Google Fool, Tarot. Read every single thing. You can read and write down what you remember. And then the next time it comes up in a reading, you have a page of notes to refer to. There you go. Easy peasy.
Is there any age limit that a respectable tarot card reader should observe?
That's tricky. Should is always a hard word because I don't like to tell people what to do. I don't read for minors because to me it is like writing in permanent marker on a dry erase board. So I don't read for minors. Now, I've read for my children because I'm their mom and I know them. And when I was younger, I used to read at parties like bat mitzvahs and things like that. Right. And I would keep it very light, very surface.
Sure.
You know? But I feel that you just have to be careful. They're minors, you know? You don't mess around with other people's kids. So I just, you know, to keep myself where I need to be as far as my own personal integrity, I don't read for minors unless I gave birth to them. And then we can talk. So
you only read for 2 minors, right?
Just coal miners. That's it.
Coal miners.
Yeah.
So
miners. Yeah.
I gotcha. As long as they've got a
most
hard hat
of
and a
my
little
clients
light.
are artists, musicians. I have a lot of clients in LGBTQ community. I read for a lot of people who are transitioning or have transitioned.
Yeah.
Their gender identities, and a lot of people who are looking for questions and answers, and looking for someone who can listen. And I'm very, very blessed to be that person.
You know, reading tarot cards, you're giving them a roadmap based on that specific time that you're doing the reading. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody doesn't want to follow your map, then they will not get to the direction that you have outlined on the map.
Yeah. Free will is an amazing thing. I had a reading for a guy one time who had just gotten out of like $50,000 worth of debt. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're in the clear, buddy. No problems. And he went out and got back in like $20,000 worth of debt. And he called me and he's like, you didn't say this was going to happen. I was like, no, dumbass, you didn't listen to me. I told you if you keep doing what you've been doing, you'll be fine. But you didn't. And now you're in debt again. That's not my fault. You're a grown-ass man.
I understand that you're going to be going to Rome and reading tarot cards for the Pope.
No.
I just had to throw that in there. I just had to throw that in there to see what you'd say.
No, I do like this Pope, though. He's very kind.
He is.
So, yeah,
I
like that guy.
He's not going to last very long. He's too good.
Oh, I hope that he makes it. He's a good man.
All right, listen. We've got about 2 minutes. As a tarot card reader, have you used the tarot cards to predict the outcome of your November presidential election? And if so, what have your cards told you?
I haven't. I don't read for myself. And aside from a daily card draw, and honestly, I'm scared to look. So, no, I haven't. It's going to be a mystery to me because I try to avoid politics. I vote, it's my responsibility to vote, but I try to stay out of politics because it gives me a headache, and everybody's crazy.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth.
So, yeah.
What are your final thoughts for the members of the X Zone Nation listening tonight around the world about tarot?
If you're curious, ask questions. If you want to get a reading, find somebody with a good reputation. And if you want to learn how to read, give me a call.
Or visit the website, X Zone Nation. Once again, Melissa's website is www.littlefoxtarot.com. That's littlefoxtarot.com. Melissa, it has been a great pleasure talking to you. I wish you much success. And we have to do this again.
Absolutely.
You brightened up my day.
Oh, how sweet. Thank you.
You brightened up my day. And I can certainly tell from talking to you that you make a difference in so many people's lives that I know that they would like me to say one little thing to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet.
You take care of yourself, Melissa, and we'll look forward to talking to you again when next we meet here in the X Zone. Until then, take care and be safe.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, X Zone Nation, I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Let me see. Craig? Craig has 37 cents for his deck of cards. And Craig, I'm not even going to say it. The X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 11 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates right around the world. X Zone at xzoneradiotv.com is my email address, and check us out online at www.xzoneradiotv.com. I'll be back on the other side of this short break. Don't go away.